Well, thank you for coming out today on my 186th day in maximum security confinement, thanks to the FBI. I would like to announce that the theme is going to be, why the hell are we cowering and hiding? Let me update you on my fight as of today. These are the crimes that the FBI and the Department of Justice are guilty of committing under Title 18 U.S. Code Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Violations of the First Amendment by criminalizing the free speech and peaceful assembly rights of law-abiding American citizens attending a permitted rally on public grounds. They have abridged the freedom of the press by overtly and covertly manipulating the American people by using the controlled corporate media to push a false government narrative, which leftist anti-American journalists are more than happy to assist as co-conspirators. And again, we've also talked about the fact that they are seizing, as ruled by the Supreme Court of the United States, your free speech rights by trying to seize the money that you are donating toward this fight. Violations of the Second Amendment by enforcing unconstitutional gun laws that violate the letter and intent of the shall not be infringed clause. Words have meanings, and the tyrants blatantly ignore those meanings. Violations of the Fourth Amendment by deceptively using domestic terrorism jurisdiction and false charges to obtain an unreasonable and illegal search warrant by lying to the issuing magistrate judge in D.C. This warrant was used to seize many things, none of which had anything to do with my charges. They refused to present this warrant to me or my girlfriend, and when asked what they are looking for, they stated, "We don't know what we're looking for yet." What was listed, we later found out, was anything related to the questioning of the election. That sounds a lot like free speech to me. What was not listed on the search warrant were the 2 M67 hand grenades that the FBI planted. They are also in the process of trying to illegally seize the money you have donated to fight them. They should seize one of the copies of my U.S. Constitution and try reading it. Violations of the Fifth Amendment by failing to read me my rights prior to or during my arrest. To this day, 186 days after my arrest and 451 days after January 6, 2021, I have never been questioned by a single FBI agent or law enforcement officer, despite the DOJ claiming that this is the largest investigation in DOJ history. Not one question. For 186 days, they have deprived me of my life, my liberty, and my property without due process of law. They have simply arrested me, thrown me in maximum security lockup, presumed my guilt with no trial or freedom in sight. After 186 days, I have yet to see all the evidence against me, and no trial date is even set. This brings me to the Sixth Amendment. They are denying me my right to a speedy trial by claiming that they are still investigating, still haven't gathered all the evidence, and whatever other delay that they come up with. They're denying my right to a public trial by not allowing people in the courtrooms due to various reasons, not allowing cameras or recordings, allowing the government to claim everything is too sensitive or highly sensitive for the people to see it. It's so sensitive even I don't get to see it, because they know that I will tell you, the people, the truth. They fear the truth because their case is built on lies. By the way, the Sixth Amendment has no highly sensitive clause, but it does say that I have the right to face my accuser and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusations. By keeping me locked away, they hinder the building of my case, the obtaining of hundreds of witnesses I plan to call to testify, and they make it near impossible to privately meet with my legal team as I wish. Currently, I've relieved my court-appointed attorney of duty, and the judge has denied even that, forcing me to move forward with the court's choice of my legal counsel rather than my choice. They're ignoring my speedy and public trial rights. The ignoring of my speedy and public trial rights are a clear attempt to hide the truth from the American people and the world. Recently, they have violated my 7th Amendment right to a jury trial when they began attempting to steal the money you've donated to help me fight these corrupt bastards. This is how they hope to beat us. Prevent the truth from being exposed by hiding it and making sure I don't have the resources to stop them. Violations of the 8th Amendment by denying my right to bail. By keeping me locked up, they can monitor every form of communication I have, something that would be illegal if I was out on bond. And despite no violent charges and 0 criminal history, they have housed me in maximum security with the most violent inmates. This is unusual punishment for most, but just another day at the office for the FBI and DOJ. Violations of the 9th Amendment are simply making up the law as they go based on their feelings. Violations of the 10th Amendment by going outside the jurisdiction of the federal courts and violating Florida trust law in an attempt to steal and shut down my resources. Violations of the 14th Amendment by denying me equal protection under the law. If I was a member of Antifa, like Garrett Smith, I could attempt to attack innocent people and have my charges dropped. But hey, don't ask the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force about Garrett Smith because they've never heard of him, or Ray Epps, or Hunter Biden. Plus, they're busy riding around raiding school board moms, vitamin C clinics, and Project Veritas reporters. Got to get them terrorists. The DOJ, FBI, and judges are so corrupt and are making such a mockery of the U.S. Constitution, they will house agents and soldiers with my girlfriend and dogs before it's all over, nailing the 3rd Amendment and making it 10 out of 10. Many are asking, why is this happening? And how did this happen? That is what I want to talk about today. My question is, why are we allowing it? Why in the hell are we cowering and hiding from this tyranny? Why are we compromising with evil rather than defeating it? I'm in this jail to prove to you how bad it has gotten, how far our republic and rule of law has fallen. I'm not fighting for my freedom. I'm fighting to show you that you've already lost your freedom. You just haven't caused enough problems for the tyrants, but don't worry. Right. They're collecting on you as we speak, and it is just a matter of time. They are watching your social media. They are reading your private messages. They are collecting your facial recognition data, and they are tracking your bank records and your medical records. And these are just the areas they are admitting to. I'm just a highly trained canary in the coal mine, but I'm not here to lay down and die. Amen. I'm here to squawk and fight until their last lie and plan to destroy America as we remember it is exposed and disrupted. If supporting and defending the Constitution and this republic against domestic enemies makes me a domestic terrorist to the globalist elites who see our rights as cliche, then I stand guilty as charged, because I am a specially selected and well-trained to defend America, regardless of how fat and gray I am now.
We love you.
To quote the movie Taken, I don't have money, but what I do have is a special set of skills that I've acquired over a very long career that make me a nightmare for evil like them. And while the FBI will claim I'm referring to my skills with knives, guns, and my bare hands, and that I can eat things that will make a billy goat puke, they're wrong. It made a great line to describe Rambo, but I'm talking about my skills to win the hearts and minds of you, the American people. My voice is mightier than my sword, and I'm pretty good with my sword. I'm an expert at, as Thomas Jefferson said, setting brush fires of liberty in the souls of men. And trust me, I am irate and tireless. Are you? You see, I see what is going on and know exactly what is happening. This is a war of good versus evil with the goal of destroying the United States of America in order to install a new global world order through a great reset. January 6th is not an event that happened in a vacuum. It was one stage battle of many that are hitting us all at once. January 6th, COVID, school board despots, critical race theory, inflation, removal of history and tradition, supply chain breakdowns, food shortages, gaslighting us that women have penises and men can have babies, and our 5-year-olds need to learn it from the government schools, and the destruction of our dollar and economy by refusing to use our oil while making our enemies rich, buying it from them at twice the price. We are in a war for our very existence, and most have no idea how bad it is. But don't listen to me, listen to them. Alexandria Chalupa, a leftist infiltrator, has publicly called for the arrest of Trump, his supporters, and members of the House Freedom Caucus because she says they're waging war on America. In a way, she's absolutely correct. But the America she is referring to is the leftist, globalist, conquered America. See, they know it's a war because they've been fighting it for 100 years. When will we realize it? When evil tells you who they are, believe them. When they show you, you better stop them, or like cancer, they will grow, spread to every organ, and kill you.
Tell it.
They are authoritarians, and they have weaponized the government we, the people, should control. But we fear the government and its never-ending overreach. We cower to the policies of unelected bureaucrats, and we fall for the lies of bought and paid-for politicians who, as exposed by young Madison Cawthorn, seem to like their sex parties and cocaine binges. We know this is true because listen to the guilty attack him. Did they forget we learned about their secret sex settlement slush fund? Paid for by you and me, of course. This is what the Founding Fathers knew and tried to teach us. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty.
That's it.
But if you think you scared these tyrants by liking stuff on the social media platforms they built to control you, or by watching the controlled fake conservative opposition meant to give you shiny topics to agree on so that you never talk about the real evil, let me assure you, they are not scared. You see, the scoreboard proves they are way more committed to destruction of America and the Constitution than we are to saving it. Just look around. Look at our culture. When are we going to stop them? When are we going to get pissed? When are we going to prove we love our children by standing up to this evil on their behalf? When are we going to prove that we love the Constitution by demanding that it be followed by judges and elected officials? Let me remind you what those who have lived this nightmare already wish they would have done. The prosecutor in my case has revealed her inner tyrant many times during this clown show, but my two favorite are these. She once responded to my attorney in the presence of others who asked her, "Why do you think Mr. Brown should be held without bond?" She said, minus the Soviet accent, "Because he disrespects the government." Let me be clear, little Miss Stalin. I don't disrespect the government. I have done more in the service of this government than she'll ever read about, and most of it was before she could drive. I disrespect the destruction of our government and the criminals responsible for it. The next statement was made in the courtroom while the government was attempting to steal your money. She stated that the government had plenty of evidence, so I should have to prove my innocence. I even restated her words for the record, yet it didn't seem to faze the judge. Just another day at the office for the DOJ. But let me be 100% clear. I'm here to fight. I hear the voice of the Lord asking, "Who should I send, and who will go for us?" And like Isaiah, my response is, "Here I am, send me." But I cannot do this alone. I need your help. I need it so much. Can I call back and spend a little more time asking for you to join me?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
For 20 years, I was sent all over the world under the banner of protecting freedom, while all along the enemy was right here on our own soil. Many people say to me, "Thank you for your service. But my response is now, apparently it's not over yet. And that is why I'm running for Florida House of Representatives. Like our forefathers, I, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, do pledge my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor to restoring and resecuring the blessings of liberty, which make America a beacon to the world and makes Florida a beacon to those fleeing blue states. During my 20-year special operations career, I had numerous accomplishments that I should be able to look back on with pride. I was a Ranger Fire Team leader at age 20. I was the second youngest Green Beret in the Special Forces Regiment at the time I joined. I was the honor graduate of my Special Forces Communications Sergeant's Advanced Non-Commissioned Officers course. I was selected to be the Special Forces recruiting poster. Yes, I really was the poster boy. An honor that won me a place on many of my friends' dartboards. I received the Leadership Award from the U.S. Army Recruiting School. I completed the U.S. Army's Advanced Land Navigation course, not once, but twice. For those who know what that really is, you know I suffered pain and exhaustion alongside the absolute best men on the planet. I made the rank of Master Sergeant at 15 years and spent a quarter of my entire career at that rank. I had the honor of leading the first new military freefall team since Vietnam into combat and brought every one of my men home alive. I played a key role in the freeing and return home of an American POW, Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, an act that led to a General Officer Memorandum of Reprimand, something I wear as a badge of honor. I have attended more memorial services and funerals for fellow warriors than I care to remember, and I cannot count on both hands the number of heroes I've laughed at crude jokes with, that I've drank cold and hot beer with, and debated about which women are the hottest with. Sorry, feminists. Real heroes that grace memorial walls all over the world. Men who fought and sacrificed their lives against real terrorists while protecting Americans, not the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force posers that dress in operator kits so that they can kick in the doors of American moms sticking up for their children's education, old men, or American patriots who they see as terrorists. I served with real heroes like Warrant Officer Dan McCants, who went through Special Forces training with me in 1996, then became a helicopter pilot flying the MH-47 Chinook. I learned of this switchover one morning at dark 30 as I was running a Special Forces candidate smoke session at a pool on Fort Campbell, Kentucky. As the candidates struggled with flutter kicks, we caught up like old times. 7 days later, I was at his memorial service, mourning his death. His MH-47 crashed in the mountains of Afghanistan. Heroes like Master Sergeant Joe Andrus, my ODA teammate, one of my groomsmen, and my best friend. Joe was killed during a high-value target operation on Christmas Eve in 2005 in Iraq. His family in Ohio was notified of his death at 7 a.m. on Christmas morning. Because Joe was a Delta Force operator and did not exist, I learned of his death watching the late-night news days later. All of these things I've accomplished and experienced as a man who believed he was protecting his family, friends, and country from the enemies of liberty and freedom. But it's only now, sitting in an American gulag as a political prisoner of war of a corrupt, compromised, and tyrannical government, that I truly know I'm finally fighting the real enemies of the Constitution and our American way of life. James Madison warned us that the enemies of our liberties would use fake wars and foreign boogeymen when in 1798 he said, "Perhaps it is a universal truth that the loss of liberty at home is to be charged against provisions against danger, real or pretended, from abroad." Let this truth sink in. More Americans have been killed and are being killed by failed government policies in the last 2 years, millions of which were unborn babies, than were killed by terrorists in 20 years of war combined. As Ronald Reagan once said, Government isn't the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. But at least our government officials have made millions by spending trillions on wars and failed programs sold to us as help. The values and principles on which our republic was founded nearly 250 years ago have been under attack for decades by the evil forces of ignorance and complacency. Today, that damage is clearly visible in every area of our lives. While Florida is considered more free than the leftist hellholes of California, New York, and parts of Washington and Oregon, this should never be the acceptable standard of liberty. Generations of politicians, both Republican and Democrat, have failed us by refusing to uphold their duties as clearly articulated in our founding documents, and we have failed as citizens by not demanding accountability and demonstrating that they serve us at our pleasure, not the other way around. If we do not take action now to stop and correct these failures and change our direction towards restoration of our rights, liberty may be lost forever. Send me to Tallahassee on your behalf, and I will focus like a laser on restoring these three areas: freedom, family, and fairness. Freedom. In 1776, we declared independence from a tyrant by properly acknowledging that our rights come from our Creator, not men, and that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of us, the governed, to secure our rights. Today, governments at every level trample all over our constitutionally secured liberties by treating the Bill of Rights as if it was just an outdated cliche, rather than the supreme law of the land. They make laws, rules, and policies that are meant to seize power and enrich themselves while treating us like subjects rather than free citizens. Do you think you're free? Try flying to California without wearing a mask. Try starting and running a cash business out of your home without proper zoning. Try leaving a sign for your president of choice in your front yard beyond some random date picked by a mini despot. Try refusing an experimental shot that doesn't work, but your boss doesn't do any medical research. Try opting out of paying taxes because you don't want to fund the murder of babies. Or maybe you don't want to aid corrupt enemies of liberty like Iran, China, or the Ukraine. Maybe you hate fake war for profit. Maybe you don't want to fund the teaching of little 6-year-old boys that they should chop off their penises because their teacher has a mental issue. Maybe you don't want your 19-year-old daughters competing against men that couldn't beat other men, so they put on a dress and now break all the girls' records. But hey, those tax dollars don't just fund all that evil here in America, but we help other countries as well. Ladies, not birthing people, and gentlemen, not non-binary sperm providers, you are not free. I will never vote for any legislation that steals or restricts your liberty or forces you to pay for evil agendas. I will demand 2 laws repealed before I'll support any new law. I will never support medical mandates. Government cannot be trusted with your tax dollars, so why should it be trusted with your health? More laws and regulations equal less liberty and freedom. Family. The family has always been the foundation of any advanced society, and America is no exception. The same forces that seek to destroy our liberties are doing so by attacking our families, and that attack is mainly waged against our children. This is done by allowing government to intrude into every aspect of our families' lives. Failing government schools that only teach our children to depend on the state, ignore their parents, feel like victims or oppressors, or confuse them about sexual behavior, which should be taught by parents at the proper age. Broken family law courts put our children's fate in the hands of unconcerned judges rather than the parents that love them. Corrupt medical technocrats that hide data and lie about dangers to push treatments on our children without parental consent or medical damage liability. According to the CDC, 1/5 of teens have thought about suicide, and 40% feel despair and hopelessness. Where are they learning this? Maybe the schools shouldn't be telling our children that they are racist or a victim of racism.
Amen.
Or maybe they shouldn't be over-sexualized by every angle of our culture. Maybe it was just foolish to allow some medical bureaucrat or politician to tell us we couldn't hold the hand of our parent, our grandparent, or the love of our life as they passed away because of a manufactured panic over the cold and flu season by calling it COVID. The truth is, you don't run your family. Despots do. I will fight to protect all life, no matter how young, by ending the human scourge of baby murder. I will demand the first ever child vaccine studies that compare vaccinated children to unvaccinated children to confirm or deny their effects on childhood disorder rates. I will push for reforms in the family law system that respect the rights of mothers and fathers and puts them in control of their children's future, not judges. I will support homeschooling and school choice, giving parents the final say on their children's education, not teachers' unions and school board despots. I will seek economic policies that allow for a return to the single-income household that provides the financial freedom for one parent to accept the greatest job ever, raising their children.
Hell yeah. Amen.
Fairness. I know all men are created equal, but they are not treated equal by our two-tier justice system. But contrary to political panderers and race pimps, these tiers are not based on the color of your skin, but rather on the size of your bank account and the amount of your political influence. If you can afford the top lawyers or know the right people, you will get justice. If not, you will languish in a system that has no concern for your rights or your due process. I know because I'm surrounded by men that are trapped in a never-ending conviction system, not a justice system. I will seek reforms in our criminal justice system that respects the hard work of our brave law enforcement officers while protecting the rights of every citizen. Honor the principles of innocent until proven guilty. Treat convicted criminals humanely by focusing on helping them rather than just housing them. And supporting ethical, community-based law enforcement efforts that build trust and cooperation between the police and the citizens they're sworn to protect. I will demand judges be held accountable for improper application of the laws and radical judicial activism. I will pursue policies that seek to reduce crime by providing economic opportunities and promoting community involvement, rather than allowing citizens to be locked away as if they are irredeemable. I will also support the establishment of a public defender branch for civil and constitutional rights. Many violations by government are never challenged due to the lack of resources and the extreme financial burden to make such challenges. This must change. Freedom and fairness cannot be discussed without mentioning free and fair elections, because without them, those who seek power can never be held to account. As long as there has been voting voting fraud. The matter is simple as this. Your legal vote is completely canceled out by just one illegal vote. Cheating should never be accepted, no matter who does it. The best way to protect your vote is voter ID and accurate voter rolls. If we check your ID to fly on a plane, buy a beer at the bar, withdraw money from a bank teller, or get a library card, shouldn't we confirm your vote is cast by you?
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Amen.
I'm not going to lie to you, which I know sounds strange coming from a political candidate wearing orange gel scrubs. But things in America aren't good, and even in Florida, they can be way better. So consider this a halftime speech from a coach of a defending championship team. We are losing, and we are losing badly. While we are running out of time, the fight is not over. We are better than this. We are stronger than this. Get up and fight.
Yes.
They want total control of you. They want to rule over you like their subjects. If they can't, they will imprison you until you believe that 2 + 2 = 5. If that fails, they will simply increase the rate in which they are killing you. I am not inciting or calling for violence. I am warning you that the evil enemies of our liberties and our way of life have already been violently attacking you for years, and you have a God-given right to life, liberty, property, and the right and ability to defend all three. When they find me dead from an untimely single-car accident, medical emergency, or surprise suicide, know that I stood for liberty to the point of death. And my gravestone will read, "He died on his feet screaming freedom, not living on his knees as a silent slave." I'm not running for office. I'm fighting for freedom, family, and fairness. Will you join me? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for patriots, not politicians, warriors, not wimps, leaders, not leeches, champions, not cowards. It is time for winter soldiers to stand up, not sunshine patriots. My name is Jeremy Brown, inmate 1875858. And I approve this message knowing damn well the FBI is recording it and planning to play it in a compromised courtroom. May God forgive us for allowing evil to advance, but may He grant us the strength to overcome it. The oppresso liber, liberty or death. Thank you.